Welcome to Baldur's Kitchen, where the magic's cooked up. This is Guide 7, and we're going to look at the tech tree of the Imperial Remnant. So, let's go to the tech tree. So, Imperial Remnant are described as a defensive civ, and they've got good Sith and ships. And then their weaknesses, they're a little bit slower. Their mechs are a little bit slower than other civilizations' mechs, moving 5% slower. For unique units, they get a Shadow Trooper, which is a Sith warrior produced in the fortress, and AT-AT swimmers, which are ships, and they're kind of like floating AT-ATs, really, floating assault mechs. The unique technologies are Artusian crystals in the Sith Temple, fortress worlds in the research center, and advanced particle cannons in the mech factory. And then civilization bonuses, their ore deposits last 20% longer, which is good. Their defensive buildings are constructed 20% faster, so turrets and fortresses you can get out more quickly. And their anti-air destroyers, which are ships, are cloaked. Then what do the Imperial Remnant bring to a team? Well, their temple units gain +1 melee and +1 range armor. So, if there's any Republic players out there, you might be thinking, oh, I'd love to join up with the Imperial Remnant because my already amazing Jedi are going to get extra armor. And likewise, Imperial Remnant players might want to join with Republic because then all their Sith will get 10% speed. And the medics, which can heal Jedi units, work at double the rate as well. So that's a really good matchup. And the fortress bonus is that fortresses have additional building armor, which feeds into them being a defensive civ. It's harder to take down their fortresses. So, looking at the troop center, their troops are below average. Okay, so the mounted trooper is missing the advanced mounted trooper upgrade. And then the other three types of trooper, the laser trooper, the grenade trooper, and anti-air trooper, they've got all the upgrades. So grenade trooper's got explosive yield increase, and the other upgrade too in the war center, I think it is. Okay, but for those three units, they miss integrated rangefinder, which means all three of them have one less range than other civs would get. And in addition to all that, they're missing a little bit of armor, but we'll see that in a moment. Mech-wise, they get the upgrades for the strike mech, the mech destroyer, but they don't get the heavy assault mech upgrade. And in a similar vein, they get advanced redesign, which is great at boosting hit points for the smaller units, but they don't get technicians, which is really good for increasing the hit points of larger units. And then speed-wise, they just get the one upgrade. So not only are they 5%, their mech's 5% slower as a civilization, but they also can't get this extra 10% speed upgrade there. Now, one of the things that really excited me about Imperial Remnant was this upgrade here, Advanced Particle Cannons. Okay, this is just for mech destroyers and makes their mech destroyers pretty amazing, really. I love mech destroyers anyway, and they've got good range, but this upgrade gives them an extra point of range, and also when their projectiles hit a unit, they pierce through them, so they can hit units behind them as well. So all in all, that makes the mech destroyers for Imperial Remnant really, really good. They miss out on technicians, so they don't quite have the hit points that, say, Galactic Empire 2 or Trade Fed do. But with this upgrade, they get extra range, and they get piercing attacks. I'm very fond of mech destroyers because of their long range, you don't have to babysit them quite so much. You can just have them there and they'll pick their targets and fire away. Their ships are great. As saying, they've got this floating AT-AT, the AT-AT swimmer that can transport units and generally acts like an AT-AT on water. Then Sith Temple. So their Sith are very good. They're missing faith in the Force, which means they're a bit more vulnerable to being converted by your opponent's masters. But something I'm noticing here is they have Jedi Mind Trick, which makes masters invisible. And as far as I know, that's the only Sith civilization that's able to have invisible Sith Masters, because Galactic Empire can't. So that's quite surprising, really. But other than that, good Jedi. Now, this is one of those unique technologies that Artusian crystals. Okay, if you get that upgrade, then your Force users, so Apprentices, Knights, and Shadow Troopers, are produced twice as quickly, and that really is a big deal because all Jedi, they're always very substantial units because they're very expensive, and they do take a long time to come out. So being able to half that time they come out really helps you if you're trying to spam Force users. Then onto the Fortress, with the theme of them having good Sith. Their unique unit is the Shadow Trooper. Okay, it's a Sith unit. So I think basically a Shadow Trooper is kind of akin to a Sith Knight, right? Except I don't think Shadow Troopers can convert enemy units. They rather focus in on fighting in melee. So they're very quick, and they're very good melee fighters. And they're quite similar to Jedi Knights, I would say. But if you look, right, their Shadow Troopers are actually really cheap. They're 80 food and 95 Nova crystals, whereas Jedi Knights are 100 food and 200 Nova crystals. So it's a really good unit they're produced from the Fortress. There's a technology here, World Devastators. So the gist of this one is when you destroy enemy buildings, you get 20% of their value in carbon. So basically, I take it that means if you're invading your opponent's base and you're bringing down some of their buildings, you get like a reward of carbon every time you destroy a building. So I'm not sure how useful that is, to be honest. I could skip that one, it wouldn't bother me too much. So heavy weapons, very much the same situation with Galactic Empire. They've got good heavy weapons. They don't get the reinforced frame, and they don't have any like unique technologies unique to their civilization. But they get the other upgrades. So they get the anti-air retrofit, which is important for the range of anti-air mobiles. So they're decent. The artillery's on legs. Okay, it's like a walker version of artillery. So just mentioning that. Then in the airbase, I think overall their air's kind of similar in terms of its ability to the Galactic Empires. I mean, these guys get armoured plate work, which I don't think Galactic Empire do. But then Galactic Empire get these upgrades, the Advanced Bomber and Advanced Fighter, and Imperial Remnant don't. So the air's not good at all. You probably, as Imperial Remnant, unless you're trying to be clever, you probably won't use the air very much, I think. But I do have to say, I love the look of the air transports. I was playing a game and I built some to shift some stuff around, and I really like the look of them. They're very tall. And then, so the War Centre, they get all the upgrades, and as I think I briefly mentioned, they don't get the heavy armour upgrade for troops, which kind of like feeds into their troops being below average, really. But you do get it for mechs, so sort of all power again to those mech destroyers, which are amazing. And then in the Research Centre, they get all the stuff, nothing specific to civilizations, but then they get this technology called Fortress Worlds, which gives all buildings 15% hit points. That's amazing because it's all buildings, and then it increases the armor again of defensive buildings by +1 melee and +1 range. So fortresses and turrets and things will be even stronger. So they get described as a defensive civ because they can get defensive buildings up very quickly, and their defensive buildings, they've got a number of technologies which just make them a lot tougher, right? So at the end of the day, if people are firing cannons at your fortresses, they're still going to go down. They might last a little bit longer, but they're still going to go down. But if people aren't using cannons or pummels, but are trying to take down your fortress sort of in other ways, like maybe with mounties or something like that. All these little upgrades will make a huge difference, and your fortress is going to last a lot longer. So won't help you too much against cannons and the like, but it will help you against people trying to take your stuff down in other ways. So I think that covers everything. I think I did all the technologies and everything. So I really like Imperial Remnant. Yeah, we did everything. Right, I'll stop there.